Good evening, hi everyone. So welcome to our other Facebook Live here on the CakeFlix community page. Now you might notice I have got a little friend here. Yes, hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
And this is Sarah, and Sarah is on our course this week on the Train the Trainer course. So you having a good time so far?
Oh, it's brilliant, amazing. So much learnt already.
And it's only day 2, isn't it?
I know. Yeah.
I think everyone at home last night quite tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing that even it's not such a physical class.
It's mental.
Yeah.
Yeah, mentally.
Both ways.
Yeah, mentally draining, but it's amazing.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It's a really nice group of people we've got as well. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So we've got 2 Sarahs, which is fun, with also B as a second name as well. So it's it was quite interesting. And we've got a really nice group here. So it's been good fun. And most of you are just staying next door, aren't you? So it's literally a 2-minute walk.
It is beautiful breakfast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. It's
very tranquil.
Very tranquil. Yeah, I think you were trying to stay there this morning. You didn't want to come into class this morning,
No.
did you? No. So it was actually a request yesterday. I think you saw it.
Yes.
And Dave was doing a little promo about tonight, and I think was it Jackie Harris maybe that came up with the idea. I'm not sure. Said it'd be really good to have someone else make the cake instead of always being me. How dare they? And the idea is hopefully if maybe something goes slightly wrong or something happens during the process, then we can chat about it and we can fix it during the live, so that's quite nice. And because we've got this new group, well, it's not a new group, it's actually 2 years old, but we've just really pimped the group up, and because Facebook, Mr. Mark was saying the whole page group thing is more in vogue now and they really want to promote the community thing, we've actually got everyone in here, so it's not just beginners. We've got beginners, intermediate, advanced, and I think the advanced plus, isn't there? I mean, if you saw some of the quality of the cakes that's coming in there, some that I'm like, oh my goodness, they're actually amazing. So it's really good. And also, I'm also part of a new group, Facebook group, that's on. So I've got some of the members from that. I've let them know a little that Rachel has kindly asked allow me to post on there, and hopefully some of their groups are there. And it's cake decorating for beginners. So welcome to all the beginners, and that's the theme for tonight. So that was a nice little. Do you like the way to thread that in there? Yeah. So tonight it's quite strange because did you see the one we did last week with the octopus? Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like we're in full circle back to the beginning again.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice. So instead of me doing most of the work tonight, Sarah is going to do the majority of it, and it's good training for Sarah because Sarah, hopefully at the end of this week, you'll be going home with a nice big gold certificate. And is going to be starting her new career. Well, not a new career, but you're going to be starting doing a lot more courses, aren't you? September time?
Starts September.
Yeah. And where are you based about?
In Lake Buzzard, near Milton Keynes.
Milton Keynes. Yeah. Now, if hopefully at one point David or someone can pop a link onto your Facebook page, which is called
Caringly Crafted.
Caringly Crafted, yeah. I think it's a great name, isn't it? Because actually it's caringly crafted, and it's great for making cakes and for teaching as well.
Yes.
So so I love that. It's really good. Okay, so shall we get started on? So what I'll explain what we're doing. So a lot of people are saying, Paul, we're really good to do something really basic. Just, what is ganache and how to ganache a cake and how to ice it and the sugar paste, is it fondant. So we just thought we'd go right back to basics today and just start fresh. That's the idea, isn't it? So, and the really good thing is tomorrow, one of the training things that we're doing tomorrow, and I think some of the trainers are on watching tonight. Sarah's getting a wee head start because we're actually doing this cake tomorrow. So it's quite funny, isn't it? So you're getting to do a wee. That's
I get practice.
You get practice. So but you're being brave, so because you're brave it worked out well, and we didn't know this before you actually. That was just coincidence. So what we'll do is, first of all, let's talk about the ganache. So what we've got here is a lovely, you can see it's very silky. Do you work with ganache a lot?
Unfortunately not as much, because I do a lot of children's cakes, but I really want people to move on to ganache because it's amazing stuff.
And I think that's what we're discussing today is ganache is so good for teaching and for just making cakes because it sets fast, especially the dark chocolate stuff. But even the milk and white chocolate sets faster than buttercream because it's got the cocoa in it. So if it's really warm, like just now, what's the temperature outside here? About 28 degrees or something like that? Yeah. So if you're making white chocolate or milk chocolate, we normally do a 2-to-1 ratio. So 1 cream and then 2 chocolate. So you boil your cream in the microwave or on a stove. Just bring it just to the boil, just until it starts to bubble. And what you do is you pour the cream over the chocolate. and then you start with a big wooden spoon and you try not to eat it as you're doing it, and it goes through a sort of curdled stage. And you keep on, that's when you start getting people messaging me saying, oh my goodness, I spent all this money, it's not working. Keep on mixing, and all of a sudden it goes into this really beautiful, rich, lovely ganache. But if you're doing a white or a milk and it's a bit warmer, rather than do a 2-to-1 ratio, you can do a 3-to-1. In fact, I was in Australia and they were doing white chocolate, I think it was a 4 or a 5-to-1. So that's one cream to 5 chocolate. But you can't just pour the boiling cream over the hard chocolate. You've actually got to soften the chocolate as well. So a bain-marie, so a pot of water, the chocolate on top, and melt the chocolate slowly over the bain-marie, boil your cream separately, pour the two together, mix it up, and you get this really, really strong chocolate, white chocolate or milk chocolate, which is almost as good as the dark chocolate ganache. So hopefully that's gave you some tips. Now we do have lots of tutorials on the website how to make ganache, so you can always head over to CakeFlix and have a wee look on there. See how I just plugged it in there as well? There.
Very good.
Yeah, you think I've done this before.
You're a pro, aren't you?
So that's that. So that's good. So over to the cake. So now it's your turn, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to explain what you're going to do here?
Well, what I'm going to be doing is I will be taking a little bit of the top off, and it's basically to level it off.
Yeah.
Then I will turn it over and cut it in half and ganache it from there.
Yeah, and maybe a wee cheeky.
Oh yes, can't forget the alcohol.
A wee bit of alcohol. Normally I put Bailey's in, but we drank that last night,
Yeah.
so we've only got the Cointreau left.
Yeah. But the rest of that is for tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. There's got to be a bonus.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so
take your knife and place on the cake. Now this one has got a slight raise, so you don't actually need to take it from the very edge. So I will take it from there and
it's probably, that's fine. I was going to say maybe better on the table, but just watch your.
Can I just throw in? There's lots of people joining, lots of people saying hello and thanking you for your bravery.
Oh,
Sarah, so
thank
well
you.
done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So being asked by Lillian, can you do just lost it? Can you do the opposite? Can you? I think it was heat up the cream, then add the chocolate. Was that what?
Yeah, so normally you would just boil the cream and not warm the chocolate up, and the hot chocolate would melt the cream as melt the chocolate as you're mixing it. But if you're doing the really ultra strong stuff, you're better to melt the chocolate and the cream. But when I made this one the other night there, all I did is boil the cream, had the little chocolate buttons in a bowl, and I just poured the hot cream over the chocolate with a wooden spoon and kept on stirring. Now some people actually like to use a balloon whisk, an electric balloon whisk, because they don't want to mix it for ages, which is fine for that as well. Yeah, is that a bit too hard, do you think?
No, it's okay.
Is it alright? Yeah. So we've got the AC on because it's just a wee bit hot.
So what I do is then before we turn it over, put a little bit on the board, and this acts as a glue so it sticks down. Do a little bit of squiggle,
nice.
like Paul always does.
I was going to say you've seen me do that before.
I have, yes. And then give it a little pat down to make sure it has stuck.
Good.
Okay. From there, we then cut through the middle, and
now we're just doing one tonight. But of course, if you want a bit more designer, you can put more in it. That's too much work. Don't tell your customer that.
Now I always use my pinky to guide my way through, because my hands aren't as big. Some people use their hand to level it off.
Yeah.
I have to use my pinky. So you just have to be brave on this, I think.
You just got to go for it, absolutely.
And just go for it. It really doesn't matter if it is a little bit wonky. It's cake, everyone loves cake.
Exactly. As long as you put the wonky bits back together in the same way,
that's right.
There's no problems.
And the way that you do that...
Look at that, I think that was pretty good.
The way that you do that, when you do take it off, we always put a little bit of a little line through it, so when then we take it off, we can then line it up back again, and that way the wonky bits go back together. It's
just a simple technique. It takes 2 seconds, and it's how many times do you're always looking back and forward?
Yeah, so I do this all the time, regardless of whether it's straight or not. It's a habit now, so it's always a good thing.
So Sarah's asking, can you make ganache in the microwave using a microwave?
Yep, that's how we do it. We boil the cream in the microwave. and then pour the hot chocolate over the hot cream over the chocolate. Yeah, but some people like using microwaves, so you can always just boil it on the pan as well. Yeah. Is this my turn?
This is your turn, yes.
I'm allowed to.
I'm not trusted with the alcohol.
After last night, no. So obviously clean thumb, and your thumb over the end, and you want to give it a wee shuggle, as we say in Scotland. And or a big shuggle, actually, as we say in Scotland, all over the shop.
Come on.
And if you just give it a wee quick quiz with a palette knife, just to sort of spread it out a little bit, and you can see there it just really soaks in. Now I remember way back when we had Truly Scrumptious designer cakes. Actually, no, I think it was actually Paul Bradford designer cakes back then, and we started doing the Bailey's cake only because a company in Ireland who made Irish cream, not Bailey's. Their daughter was getting married and we were making her cake, and they said, can you put this in the cake? So of course my reaction was to bake it in, and they went, no, just cut it in half and pour it, and you get much better flavour from it. I'd never thought about doing that before, because this is going way back. And then, so of course from that day onwards, they gave us crates, 2 big crates of the little miniatures. We only used 2 miniatures for the whole wedding cake, so we were using it for about a year afterwards. Wow. And then it was just gold dust after that.
That wouldn't have lasted a year in my house.
No.
So Catherine's asking, what brands of chocolate are the best?
Oh, so what I'll do is, while you're adding the chocolate on there, I will actually go and get the chocolate we've used today. If I've not eaten it all.
So I putting lots on there. The more you put on, the easier it is to spread. You can always take it off a little bit later if it's too much, but seriously, you can't really have too much chocolate. Whilst you're doing it, you need to have a paddle movement. Some people just go backwards and forwards and it doesn't go anywhere, so you do need to paddle it backwards and forwards, and then all around the cake. What you're also trying to do is, you see around here you've got a lip, that's what you're trying to get. Again, it doesn't really matter if it's hugely, well, as it's in the cake, it doesn't need to be very neat. Okay.
Looks yummy. So this is the chocolate here that we've got. So this is caramel, and the one that we've got there was actually called, it's milk chocolate we've used, and it is called Claire, I think, actually. So but we wanted it a little bit darker, so I chucked some dark chocolate in when I was making it up. Probably about so I think I did 500 grams, no, 5 pounds, that's sort of old school, but let's say 500 grams of milk and no, sorry, 5 pounds of milk chocolate and 1 pound of dark chocolate was mixed into this one. And it's, sorry for doing the old school ways, but that's what I did it in.
So Blush is asking, can we whip the dark ganache with a ratio of 1 to 2 right away and use it as a filling?
No, so once you've actually whipped it and you've got it into your nice creamy consistency, it's got to be refrigerated. That was a good question, wasn't it?
Very good question.
So it's got to be refrigerated, and generally you would make it overnight, the night before. So I'd make the ganache up. Once you've mixed it up, you need to let it cool down first, obviously, before you put it in the fridge, unless your fridge is empty and it is only used for ganache. If it's an empty fridge, then you can, once it's sort of slightly cooled down, cling film on top, pop it in the fridge, and then in the morning, when you come down in the morning, you make a cup of tea, and you have a wee bit of ganache. Yeah. And then of course you have to warm it up in the microwave before you use it. But don't put the whole bowl of ganache in the microwave. So I'll just show you actually how you're doing that, Sarah.
And just in the meantime, what I am doing is the line that I created in the beginning is now lined up. So we have now a flat cake.
Perfect. That's it. Look at that. It looks very flat, doesn't it? Look very good eye. So here's the ganache that I made the other night. You can see a nice batch. So you can see there, and it's rock solid. Okay. So I wouldn't put this in the microwave. You would get a palette knife and scoop some out into a smaller bowl, just how much you need, 500 grams or whatever, and then pop this back in the fridge, and then warm up your stuff separately. So always keep it in the fridge, and if you keep it in the fridge, it lasts for weeks and weeks. Good. So before we do anything else, for any more questions, we need to whiz around with the scraper, the metal scraper, before that goes hard, just to sort of soften it onto the side of the cake. We've got the AC on full blast, so things are going to set fast tonight. Is it setting already? Yeah. Oh gosh, look at all those Scooby snacks. Excellent, good. So you can just chuck that in the bowl. So what we'll do is we'll just, is that actually set? That's actually set. Oh no, we'll pop that in the fridge just for a wee couple of seconds. Now, does that need to go in the microwave? Alright, yeah. So we'll just pop this in the microwave just to warm it up. So as you can see, we don't have the microwave in the studio, but we thought for tonight, just to save having to go back and forward to the kitchen next door.
So I just want to ask, you had a problem with white ganache split today?
Oh dear. So, interesting story, isn't there?
Yes, I was going to say that's a good lead.
That's very, very apt. So what happened? I've been making ganache for over 20 years, and it was probably 20 years since I had ganache split on me. And then I posted a wee picture of me making ganache for this class this week, and literally within seconds of me posting the picture, my ganache split. I couldn't believe it, and I was due to pick one of the students up from the airport, and so I went into Paul 5 mode, into stress mode, and it's been that long since I made it. I couldn't. I was like, is this going to work? But what I had to do is I had a really, it was up to here, the ganache, the split ganache. So I divided it into 4 smaller bowls, 4 bowls this, but less ganache in it. You get a pan of hot water, bring it to just the boil, then turn it right down to just 1 or 2 on so just simmering. Pop the bowl on top, and with a balloon whisk, you need to beat the living daylights out of it. Just keep on beating and beating and beating. All of a sudden, you just see it start. It goes really grainy. Then all of a sudden, you just see a bit of shine around the side, and you think, is it not? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And then you shout on David because I've got tired, and he has a shot, and then I have a shot again. You take it off the heat, and then you finish off, and all of a sudden it goes back to a really nice. So this stuff was really grainy. And you can see here it's went back to a nice glossy finish. Now when the students were using it yesterday, they actually, when they warmed up first, it went a wee bit grainy again.
Yes.
But then when they applied it, the cake went over the scraper, it went all nice and smooth again, didn't it? So it was fine. And it still tastes fine, it just doesn't look nice if you just put it on a cake like that. But as long as you spread it on, smooth it off, pop it in the fridge, it's good, isn't it? So don't throw it out. Another wee tip that one of the students was saying was actually just put some cream, a wee bit of cream into it. And then beat the cream into it, and sometimes that brings it round as well. But I've not tried that technique. I do the old-fashioned, the longer method, which still worked.
Beating the hell out of it.
Yeah, beating the hell out of it, exactly. You just think of someone that's annoying you that day, and it really, really helps. Okay, so do you want to do the next stage now? Yeah. Okay, so just around the side there. So, did I talk about this? I did talk about the chocolate, didn't I, chocolate?
No, but it's good that you did, but it's good that you've got white out, because Yax has asked, how would you colour white chocolate ganache?
How would you colour white chocolate ganache? Well, normally I would just use a Pro Gel when I'm doing that, so let's just see what we've got in here. Yep, Pro Gels are perfect because they're oil. Yeah, so water ones maybe not so good for chocolate, but if it's an oil, so I've got the Pro Gels here, so any of the gel ones are great for colouring your ganache. Again, we have a tutorial on the website, and it was actually our anniversary cake. What anniversary was it? The drip one?
Oh, 4th.
Our 4th anniversary, and it's a white chocolate cake when it's the drip, and we coloured the white chocolate ganache all different colours and dripped it down the side of the cake. So if you head on to CakeFlix, and look up the drip cake. It's on at Emma Ball, so if you type in Emma Ball, you will also find it through Emma Ball name. She did all the little models for it. We got lots of plugs tonight, huh? That's great. So you can see here, what we've got here is this amazing ganache going on here. Now it is quite warm in here, even though we've got the AC on full bung, it still feels quite warm, but hopefully it will still set. And you can see, look at this beautiful lip. It's all about the lip, isn't it? Or the crown, do we call it a crown?
We call it the crown.
That sounds a bit more posh, doesn't it? Not the lip.
I still call it the lip, do you know?
In the notes today it was like remove the crown.
On the crown, yeah.
We're just trying to jazz
and
things
even
up.
for a minute I went, what was the crown? It's the lip.
So do you want to explain the importance of the lip?
So what the lip does is, once you've put it all on and you've put it into the fridge, you need to keep this lip on, because what we then do is then we take it all off, and it creates an amazing edge. A really sharp edge. So then once you've put your fondant on the top, after it's all done, it just, as you can see, they look absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's really hard to get that from buttercream, isn't it? Because the buttercream just goes soft so quickly.
Yeah.
It's still achievable with buttercream, but it just makes life a little bit more difficult. Now, just like what you were saying, and other people were saying in the class today, is some people just don't like ganache, but I think it's actually more they don't like it's just they don't know where it is. So because everyone just wants birthday cake, isn't it? They just want. I know. I just want a birthday cake. But actually, see if you just, I say over and over again, when we did the cake shop, we did it, samples, lots of samples, and have some buttercream ones, some ganache ones, and just put them out every so often when customers are in if they're not sure. And if you've not tried a ganache cake before, have a wee taste. And nobody's going to say no to a bit of cake, are they? And then when they taste the buttercream one,
especially not chocolate.
Definitely. And then if it tastes like a milk chocolate buttercream one, and then it tastes like a rich chocolate ganache one, that's when they go, oh, actually, I really like that creamy ganache one. Not all the time, but a lot of times. You're waiting for this hot water now, aren't you? Yeah.
Yes.
So we boiled this kettle just before it came on, just to sort of save time. Now that's not going to fit in there. No. I've got a new jug and I'm not getting to use it. Never mind. I think this jug's probably about 500 years old, but never mind. You can tell because it's kind of going chocolate colour. And we'll just pour that. But the good thing about how it's so wide, we can just dip the tip into the pot of water. I'll just put in, I think that'll be enough. Will that fit in there?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
No.
Although there was this technique that you take your brush.
Oh, of course, because I shouldn't have
yes,
said, yeah, that's
there
right.
was a student that said that.
Aren't
I good? Because I watched the films,
homework,
yes.
Love that. Do you want a turntable or are you happy just doing it on the table?
No, I'm happy on the table.
On the table, good.
Thank you.
Right. Okay, I'll just move that away maybe, just the area.
Yeah,
that's good.
you. So
Oh,
do you want to, no, that's fine. Just so I can concentrate on what I'm doing, would you like to...
Keep talking?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Please.
So I'll explain what Sarah's doing. So we've got the metal scraper, and what you do is you put the metal scraper in the boiling water, and the reason why you pop it in the boiling water is so it glides around the side of the cake. Now if you've got, actually I've got one here, so if you've got a plastic scraper, you get many different types. These are like the buttercream scrapers, the combs they call them, but you get the plastic one, which is fine, but of course it doesn't warm up, does it? Because it's plastic, it warms up a little bit, it just goes cold very, very quickly. So it's always better to try and upgrade online. So you can get one on Amazon or one of the cake shops, and it's really nice. It warms up, and you just can scrape around, and it lasts a lifetime, doesn't it? Because it's metal. It's really good, and it's actually better than plastic these days, isn't it? So if you're buying metal rather than plastic as much as possible. So you can see they're going all the way around there and scraping it. Now, if this was a wedding cake, you would really want to make sure you're getting a really straight edge up and down, okay? This is a beginner's cake. The idea is, as long as look at that, beautiful, well done. You think you've done that before? That looks great. Good. Are you watching this, guys, for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Doing your homework. So what you want to do is, once you think you've finished, you should always lift it up so it's eye level, and just spin it back and forward to see if there's any good bits or bad bits.
And
now, let's explain that a bit. So do you think that's refrigerated just now, or do you think, I think we could refrigerate it, because I think stage 2 could fix it, or stage 3.
Yes, stage 3 probably.
I think stage 3, yeah. So stage 3 is, once we've got the top done, and it's all kind of got the foundation ganache on it, we then go back and do the wee touch up, or the scrape off, alright? So what we're going to do is we're going to chuck this in the freezer, which means we're going to go to a commercial advert, which is you're going to get to see all about this course. But the difference is, this video that you're going to see wasn't filmed here. It was actually filmed in Scotland before we came over here. So it's
not
a little
as
bit.
Good as Spain.
No, not as good. No, definitely not.
Only 1 minute you've got.
Only 1 minute. 3, 2, 1, go!
I was nervous before I came because Paul Bradford's such a big name, and to come to a course. But on leaving now, I feel really confident, really comfortable in the environment, and would certainly come back again.
The trainer course has just been amazing. The whole week has been amazing. I've learnt new skills, I've met some amazing people, and not just the cake side of it. We've learnt a lot of information off David about the business, which will help me improve my business, and hopefully put me on a new future in teaching cake courses.
Oh, I would definitely recommend the trainer course. I've loved every minute of it and learned so much. And also a network of people who I know I can go to in the future and who have become good friends.
So we look forward to welcoming you to the studio to advance in your cake decorating career and hopefully going on to become a Paul Bradford approved tutor.
Oh no, it's boiling water. Oh. Hello! Oh my goodness. So 1 minute's definitely not long enough. Oh.
Yeah.
1 minute's definitely not long enough, but there we go. So you got to see that wee video, but of course we're now over here in Espanol. So it's nice, isn't it? It's nice and sunny,
Lovely.
and we've got a bed and breakfast literally right next door. Now I think Matthew's going to bring some pictures up of our wee place here in the sun. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So we're doing some work. You've seen yourself. We've only been here about a year, so we've got a lovely studio. We've got a nice terrace to sit out and have lunch.
Oh, yeah,
we've
right
got
by the swimming pool.
A lot of Spanish music going on in the background. Yeah. So and it's really hard to get everyone to stop talking and come back into class. But after tomorrow, that's not going to happen, because tomorrow is when it gets really tough. So they'll be quite surprised. Yeah, that was the easy 2 days. The next 2 days is going to be quite tough. So but I normally don't tell you that till tomorrow, but just keep it a secret, don't tell the rest of them.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you really fancy, if you've been thinking about it, then we've got 2 spaces left for our September course, Train the Trainer, which is coming up September this year. So they'll probably link on probably somewhere for the website for you to have a wee look. Anyway, we better get back to this cake. Now the downside is only a minute, and that definitely wasn't long enough. No. But she's going to work her magic. So she's got boiling water here, so she'll still be able to cut it off quite easily. But you really want this to go. It should be hard, shouldn't it? That when you touch it, it doesn't really move. But you can see that it looks like a bit moussey, and it's obviously there. But for the purposes of live, we're just going to continue. All right?
Yep.
Good.
So we put the pellet in the boiling water. As Paul said, we want it to be really rock solid. So when you actually go in and cut the cake, it just comes off rather than, well, sometimes if it's soft, then it can take part of the cake away. So we try our best.
Go for it. You can do it.
We go in, we try and find a smaller height on here so we can go in. Now you start at the bottom of the palette knife and work your way through in just a slicing action.
Yeah, slice across the top. No sawing action.
No sawing, yeah. And you stop then when you get to where the hot water has stopped as well.
Now you may have to do it again because we've been talking, it's actually dried. Yeah. Because of the AC in here, things dry very quickly. Alright.
So.
Oh, look at that.
Wrong one.
So you want to show that straight away. Look at that. And look how beautiful that is. So this is the sharpness. Can you see that? Look. Beautiful.
It's nice and
it makes you feel good, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it makes you
it
feel
does.
good. Yeah, it's a feel good factor.
And this will then be what you see after phase 3.
Yeah. Just a wee sec. Some people are saying that they've no sound. We've got 4 or 5 people saying that.
Oh.
And Elaine's just posted a link saying you've got to go out and come back in. Now, how do you explain that to somebody that's got no sound? What we can do is just we'll disconnect the audio and be back on in 10 seconds.
Okay. Yay! So
are we back?
Are we back in the room? We need to see some thumbs up.
Yeah, back on. Yes, that's worked. Out back in. Sound is fine now.
Yay! There we
Yay.
go. Good.
Cheesy thumbs up.
Cheesy thumbs. Okay, so continuing with the sharp edge cutting. So we'll explain that again. Actually,
yes.
Yeah. So you can look at that beautiful sharp edge. So we're just saying how lovely it is.
Yeah.
It just makes you feel good. Sometimes when you do it, actually, you just want to go and show everyone that's in the house or in the shop, because look how beautiful that looks. Okay. So off you go.
So stick it back in and then just carry on round until you finish the cake.
Sounds good. And then what we'll have to do then is we're going to do the top. Now generally top is much better if you do it when the cake below is really cold. But we're going to try and muddle away. So definitely want that to be nice and hard. So when we scrape across the top, you're not damaging the work that you've done the previous time. But just because we're on a Facebook Live, we're going to try and muddle along, aren't we? So that's the plan. So if you're making this cake at home, then of course always work in a production line. So if you've got 3 cakes on that week, and if you can, just do them all at the same time. So you would ganache all the sides at the same time. You put the first one in the fridge, then you'd work on the second one, put it in the fridge, then put the third one in the fridge. By the time the third one's in, the first one's went hard, and you just work in that little cycle. So try not to just do. A lot of people just do it 1 cake at a time, don't they?
Yes.
And it just because if you can do all the ganache mess all in one. Do you want to pop that in the fridge for a second? Actually, yeah. And we'll just. Is there space in there? Yeah. So you want to try and work in a little production line as much as when we made the cake shop. The designers usually did about 3 to 4 cakes at a time, so it means your workspace is just ganached all in one. Then once that's done, you've got your lovely 3 or 4 ganache cakes on your lovely shelf behind, and then you've got your order form sat underneath usually, and then you just bring the order form over. Okay, that was ivory sugar paste, cover it in ivory, and work in that little production line. It's great, and it means that all of a sudden you've got your 3 or 4 cakes. And then it's really nice because it means that you can spend 2 or 3 days actually doing the fun part, which is the decoration side. Try not to be tunnel vision, where you ganache 1 cake, ice it, finish it, and it just makes your workload much bigger. So trying to be efficient when you're doing the cakes is much better, isn't it?
Yes.
Where possible. I know some days it's not. Also, you might have noticed the cake is a very oily looking cake. You see how beautiful it is when we cut in half. Now, I'm not going to fake it and say we baked it last night or this morning. We actually got the cake from a company called Sweet Success, and they delivered all the way out here to Malaga in Spain, which is pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah. So because I've got a busy schedule, and you guys have got a busy schedule, you weren't going to bake your cakes and bring them over. So we phoned them up, and believe it or not, they posted all the cake for this whole course all the way here to Spain. Which still worked out cheaper than we buying the cake from the local bakery here. So it's crazy, isn't it? Only by about €2 or €3, but never mind, it was still a little bit cheaper. So for it to come all the way over is pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
So is that ganache, you think, ready for the next? I think, does it look alright? Or do you want a wee blast in the microwave? A wee blast in the microwave, that's fine. Now, just talking about the shelf life of the ganache as well, Sarah puts that in the microwave. The only best way to get the shelf life correct from your white ganache, your milk, or your dark ganache is a taste test. Okay, unfortunately, a taste test. So bake a cake off. Just a wee cake, a wee 6-inch round, cut it in half, pop the ganache on. You might even want to do 1/2 with an alcohol, what alcohol you're using a lot. Put the alcohol on, the ganache on top, and leave 1/2 in a wrapped up in a box outside the fridge, and the other half in the fridge. And every day take a tiny little slice off, a cup of tea, and have a taste. And what will happen is you'll get much fatter, but you know exactly when that shelf life is going to run out. Okay, so when you write that in your little notepad, when the Environment Health Officer comes and they say, how do you know how long your shelf life of your ganache is? You go, well, actually, the milk chocolate ganache, or flick, there we go, you can see all the taste tests, and the one that was out of the fridge lasted 5 days, the one in the fridge lasted 5 weeks, that type of thing. And they can't go wrong. You can't go wrong from that, because you're done exactly what you need to do to get the taste test. Because we get asked all the time, how long should my ganache last? It's impossible for me to know, because you don't know what chocolate you've used, we don't know what cream you've used, and we don't know what your environment's like in your house as well. So
you only have to do it the once, unfortunately. You don't need to do it every time that you use
No. And of course you should do it with everything though, shouldn't you?
You should really.
If you're doing
very important cake baking.
If you're doing a buttercream cake, you should know how long your buttercream lasts. If you're doing, and then when you bake new cakes, so a toffee cake, you should really do a taste test to see how long it lasts inside the fridge and outside the fridge. Yeah. All right. Any more questions?
There's a lot of love for Sweet Success, and Sarah Cobb mentioned it's a great way. It saves you so much time.
Yeah.
And you can concentrate on the cake decorating.
Yes.
Definitely.
It's so true.
Definitely. Yeah. A lot of people think it's I can't believe they don't bake from scratch. But if it tastes good, it's really moist, it's got a good shelf life. How can you go wrong, really? Yeah. Right. That feels better actually. Well, we'll just risk it. Let's risk it. Good. Well, I'm saying let's risk it.
We have no choice.
So you've got your metal ruler there, you've got your hot water, and you've got your ganache. So now actually, before you put it on, a wee thing sometimes, see all that water on top, I've realised, it's not in the tutorial, but just a wee dab, isn't it? And it just stops it from sliding. There we go, good.
Yeah. So again, like in the middle bit, ganache, lots of it.
Nice and delicately put on, you see that? That's on the leg as well.
It's alright, the dog will eat that later.
That was instant karma, because I took the mickey out and it just
Yeah,
splattered
exactly.
right on the leg. That was good. Oh, see, I would just like it like that. See some strawberries chucked on top,
Yeah.
and a bit of Cadbury's flakes sprinkled on top.
Mm-hmm.
And
then a bit
easy.
of drizzle of the dark chocolate as well.
Oh yeah,
on top of
oh
that.
absolutely. I was going to say white chocolate, but you're not a white chocolate
I
fan.
know I'm not. No, after having done a chocolate course, yeah.
So how much fat's in it?
So which ganache would last in temperature, best to use in hot temperatures?
Yeah.
So the UK and France and Spain are all going to be very hot this weekend.
Yeah, so dark chocolate ganache definitely is the one that's good. It's going to be most stable in a higher temperature. So even if you're really worried, I was saying that we do a 2-to-1 ratio. If it's going to be hot, I would go up to a 3-to-1 ratio. Now, when I say 3-to-1 ratio, my exact recipe is 1 pint of cream, which I know is old school. So 1 pint of one UK pint of double cream to 2 pounds chocolate. Now you should be able to convert that over in your own calculations, and that's the same recipe I've been using for 100 years. If it's going to be really hot, I would do 1 pint of cream to 3 pounds of dark chocolate. Now, if your customers want a cake that's milk chocolate, it could be milk chocolate, buttercream inside, then just do milk chocolate on the inside, the filling, or white chocolate on the inside, or even buttercream, whatever, and then do your outside, the filling as well. Pop it in the fridge, the freezer for a couple of minutes for it to go hard, and then just finish with a layer of dark chocolate just to give you that extra strength. And see when they cut into it, it looks really cool because they see the different colours of ganache or the buttercream and then the ganache, and it looks really nice. But what you do know is you've got a really strong surface. It just takes a wee bit of the risk off it. Yeah. So, are you up to this bit? Are you happy with this bit? Yeah.
We will try.
We will try.
Yes.
Good. I like it. I like your motivation there. Good.
So you did have a student a while ago that when you see on one of, well, actually doing this particular course online, they took a long ruler and instead of having, because it obviously won't fit all in the water, use a brush to get the water up and down.
Because up until then you heard me going, ow, ow.
Oh, yeah. So whoever it was,
Genius.
really well done. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. Some of these little things, isn't it?
Can I just say, Shell Robinson says that Sweet Success also make ganache with a very long shelf life, so good plug for Sweet Success.
Oh, there we go. Sweet Success are really getting a plug.
Margarita says hello to my special friend.
Oh, ciao ciao! It's my little Italian friend.
There's a lot of hellos, so I'm sorry to be picking just the one out.
Okay, bonjour, hola, ciao ciao, alright, and hello. There we go, all different nationalities. I'm so international.
Jet setter.
It's such a jet set. Oh yeah, g'day. Right, okay.
Right.
Are you ready for this? Sorry, concentration. It's going to be rock solid by the time you actually put it to
I'm not going to be able to do it. We're going to drag the ruler across, and we don't want to, well, you said it as in a running fashion, didn't you? And whilst I've been doing that, it's gone cold again.
But when I teach the reason why I came up with that is when I teach the class, you see people and they stand like this and they're holding their breath and they get halfway across and they can't go any further because they're so close to the table. Right.
Oh, it's quite hard.
Oh no, that's good. Good, excellent. That was actually very good. Now remember, we have got stage 3. So,
yes.
But I think it might be nice to do one more the opposite way.
Yeah.
And back in the hot water again.
And Jackie Harris has been on, and she said that she thinks it might have been Jackie that mentioned the brush technique.
Oh, was it Jackie?
Oh.
You're kidding! Wow. Gosh, thanks, Jackie.
Well, Jackie, thanks, because you saved my life on many occasions, or saved my fingers.
I was going to say the finger.
Yeah.
And we've got a few more hellos. We've got Jambo.
Oh yes, and I should have known that.
You should have.
Yes, born in Kenya, should have known that.
And Yorkshire. Hello in Yorkshire.
Hello, Yorkshire.
Is that not just kind of a cup of tea?
Now, So what happened there was, remember we talked about the runway, the airplane going off?
Yes.
So it's a weird thing that happens. It's almost like the gravity pulls it down, which doesn't make sense because it's all nice and light. But if I just show you around there, just because you don't do it a lot, yeah.
No.
So what happens is when you're going along with the ruler, I normally say think of an aeroplane. So you think an airplane takes off, it goes along the runway and it takes off almost the same level, doesn't it? It goes up, it doesn't go up like that, or everyone would be having a hairy canary. Yeah. So when you go across the runway and you go off, what you don't want to do when it takes off is do that. Because what happens is when it's going along here, can you see that? If you take off, what happens instead of going up the way like that, what we naturally do is push the ruler down the way, which then kind of gives that little curve at the bottom. Okay, so you can see going along the runway, and then what you should do is just lift it off like this. So it's better to have a peak up the way, so you can remove it rather than have to add. Yeah, but we're going to leave that to stage 3 and see if we can fix it on stage 3. Do you want to risk it? Because actually this bit's all fine, isn't it? Oh, it was fine until I put my hand on it. But again, we'll fix that in stage 3.
This is a beginner's tutorial.
It's a beginner's, yeah, it's good to see the mistakes, isn't it? Exactly.
This is how not to do it.
This is how not to do it. Now, if we get the metal scraper, we want to go around and remove the side crown, if you call it that. Now, of course, we have ganache plates, which we have here. We've got the ganache plates. These ones are from a company called Purple Cupcakes, and it's 10.25 inches. And the idea is you put the ganache plates on, and it makes it much easier, apparently, to ganache the cake. I've used them a few times, and it's that old dog new tricks syndrome. I prefer to do it the way I've always done it. And this is actually the old-fashioned royal icing technique that we're doing here, but using chocolate instead. So, but there's loads of tutorials on YouTube if you want to try the ganache plates. All right, so you can see here, Sarah's just going round, scraping it off, and you've got to make sure you keep your. Did I say something wrong there? No.
No, I was just making funny faces whilst I was doing it.
All right, okay. I thought I said something wrong there.
No.
I thought you were going to kick her under the table there. So she's scraping the ganache off the side, and then once that ganache is scraped off, then we want to lift it up to eye level again, just to make sure you've actually got it all off. Because sometimes with the soft ganache and the hard ganache, you feel like it's all off, but it's actually not, and you end up with a horrible lip going around the side, which the sugar paste or the fondant's not going to like.
So have you ever heard of a water ganache? This is somebody in our YouTube is asking, Brenda on YouTube is asking, do you ever make water ganache?
I've never made water ganache, but I have heard of it, and it's good for people that have got a dairy intolerance, so you're not putting as much cream.
I've never heard of water ganache.
Yeah, I think it was on the Great British Bake Off. It was the first time I'd actually heard about it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that looks pretty good. Are you happy with it?
Yes, very
I saw a big
happy
smile.
with it.
Oh yeah,
I
you see that big smile there? She's going like that on the side. That's great. Good. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and put this in the freezer, and then you're going to do some singing and some dancing.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And if we had a piano here, I'd do that too.
Have we got a little advert to go to? Quick bites. Here we go. So quick bite.
A minute of.
Well, we need longer than a minute, but we'll just pop it in there.
Yeah.
Bye. Hi, we're back again. The cake's not back again because it really needs to be in the fridge, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or in the freezer. So while we're waiting for that to come out and us to do the stage 3 with the ganache, we thought we'd have a wee talk about sugar paste.
Well, maybe talking about that was Molly's Creature Creators that everybody's just been watching, Pigs in Wedlock.
Oh, is that what they're watching? Yeah. You know, we're talking about it today, we're at lunchtime.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Molly's watching, but we're having a good old chat about your mould and how good they are. So I think what we're talking, some of the guys in the course, they were just asking, are they actually as good as they seem? Because it almost seems too good to be true.
Yes, yeah.
But actually, obviously, Molly was here with them, and they literally do just pop out. They came out of the oven. You can see I'm pointing down there. They came out of the oven, which is underneath there, and literally she took the top off, flipped them onto the cool rack, and they just came out so good because they're really, really high quality. Silicon. Yeah, it's a really high quality silicon, because I think it's actually not. It's like mega food. It's like the highest standard you can get. So so really good. And if you go onto Molly's page, all the students keep on posting pictures. What was the one I saw? Was it Highland Cow? I saw the other day there, and there's lots of little doggy ones. So really, really good. So well done, Molly. And hopefully she brings some more out. It'd be good.
Yes.
It'd be good if she brought some more out, wouldn't it?
And a couple of questions. So Elaine has never ganached a cake in her life.
What?
Is it easier than buttercream?
100% easier.
Is it?
I would say so. In fact, I can't buttercream anymore.
What would you say, Sarah?
You say the opposite.
I would say buttercream, just because I'm used to it.
Yeah.
But I think give it a go, because it is very forgiving, and you can always scrape a little bit off and then bung a bit more on. But have a go. It's really worth it.
Actually, in saying that, I know, because with buttercream you can do it much faster, can't you? Because with buttercream, you can literally go on quite fast. You don't have to worry about the whole scrapey thing, because what happens is the sugar paste fixes it out, because you can squidge it about. But with ganache, because it goes hard, you've got to get the ganache perfect before the sugar paste goes on. Yeah. With buttercream, it doesn't have to be perfect, because you can hide it with the sugar paste. Yeah. So probably for 6 years, probably about 6 years of having our business, out of the sort of 9.5 years we had it, we used buttercream, and it was faster. I must admit, it was faster to do it. But it took, for wedding cakes, it took much longer, because if you had a 5-tier buttercream wedding cake, you couldn't just do it straight away. With a ganached 5-tier ganached cake, you can ganache it in the morning, pop it in the fridge, you can ice it in the afternoon, leave it overnight, and then stack and finish it the next day. But with buttercream, generally what we had to do is we had to buttercream it, pop it in the fridge, then we put a thin layer of marzipan so it was actually strong enough. And of course, not a lot of people like marzipan, and it costs a lot of money. So then the next day it was marzipaning, then the third day we put the sugar paste on, and then the fourth day we iced the cake. So it took 4 days to do a buttercream cake to get it nice and sharp and neat, against a 2-day with a ganache.
Yeah, so, and the risk is when it's warm that cakes can get mouldy, especially this time of year.
And they can slide slightly.
If it's really hot, But a lot of people do love buttercream. So I always feel like I'm putting buttercream down. I love eating buttercream. Yeah. But I just think with the ganache, it just gives you a wee bit more security.
I think it depends on what cakes you do as well. So I do a lot of children's cakes. Ganache is sometimes a bit too rich for them. And they just prefer that. Well, they just like the look of it generally. And
I think Molly's cakes, I think it's mainly buttercream she uses for all hers, and they're actually 3D ones as well.
Well, you've persuaded Elaine to give that a go.
Oh, brilliant! Yes, give it a go. It's going to be brilliant.
And you can blame her if it goes wrong. No, I'm only kidding. Don't say that. She's like kicking under the table again.
Yeah.
So, while the cake's just chilling in the freezer, onto the sugar paste. So. Some people call it sugar paste. Again, this is for the beginners, and some people call it fondant or fondant. And then it's the same thing, isn't it? It's the same thing. It's sugar paste, but actually in the UK it's not, because we have sugar paste in the UK, we have fondant in the UK, but which isn't sugar paste, and that's why people get really confused. Because in the UK, fondant is the stuff that you dip your donuts or your French fancies in, and we call that fondant. So that's the confusing thing, isn't it? So that's why in the UK we get really confused when people say fondant. And the fondant that fondant is the stuff that you cut, and you actually want to put a bain-marie until it goes soft, put a little bit of water in, and then you can colour it up and dip your donuts in. I've done that for years. I used to love doing that. Anyway, there we go. No, I didn't used to like doing the French fancies though.
We should do that Thursday night then.
We should do that. That'd be quite fun, wouldn't it? Yeah, around the barbecue. Yeah. So sugar paste. We're going to call it sugar paste because we're in Europe, in the UK. Massaticino is massively expensive. Massively expensive. So it's massively expensive compared to Renshaws, okay? And the difference is this one here is really, really good and much stronger. So it's got a much more stable, and it's really good for icing cakes like this one here. See that has on our floor. Bring it over actually. Yeah, let's bring it over. So this is one of Natalie Porter's lovely cakes. and oops, it's got a little bit of cobweb in the back, and it's really good because of the distance here. So the masa, when you cover the cake and it folds inside, sometimes with the Renshaws and some of our sugar paste, you tend to find cracks, especially here, just when you cover it because it's so soft. What I generally find if I use the masa, you get so long to work with it, it just doesn't crack around there. But sometimes, if you want to save a wee bit of pennies, you can tell we're not sponsored by these companies, you do a 50-50, don't you?
Yeah.
So you do half masa and half Renshaws, and then you get a skinny, softer, but still more stable sugar paste to get the nice sharp edges there. So tonight, Josephine, which one are we going to use tonight? Are we going to go for the Renshaws?
Bob, we are going to go for the Renshaws.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good. So we're going to ice it in the...
Because it is also worldwide and
easy available.
easy to get.
Yeah.
For
Supermarkets,
everybody.
craft
Yes.
shops.
Yeah.
And you get the Renshaws Europe, which is the Renshaws Extra. I think they sell that in the UK now, actually. So you get Europe, you get America, Australia, all over the place, and we generally aren't being paid for that. We're just telling you. We're just being nice and just being really nice people, aren't we?
Yeah.
And just giving you all that information for free.
For
But if you
free.
head over to CakeFlix, you can become a member.
Yes.
But I'm going to see if the cake's ready. If you just do a wee tap dance again, that's great.
And we've chosen blue today. If you're doing, you can do, lots of people just do white and then colour it, or the darker colours. Well worth actually buying ready-made for the darker colours, especially black and red.
Well done. Liked
I
it.
bet.
That was good. Nice little fill there.
I bet.
So I'm going to put the rest of that hot water in.
Ooh,
It's
that's not too bad.
It's actually alright,
That's
isn't
much
it?
better than last time.
yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Right. Okay. So hot palette knife in there, and you're going to whiz round and take the last of the crowns off, aren't we? Yeah. There we go. Good. Yes. This is great fun. I actually quite like just being in the side, just chatting for a change. We've not been chatting all day.
Well, because we've done our presentations this morning,
Yeah,
so
so
you haven't really done very much.
I've just been sat in the back yawning, haven't I?
Yes.
Yeah, I
yawning.
got in trouble for yawning today.
Yeah.
If anyone knows me, if any of the pro members are there, you know that I yawn quite a lot. When I'm not talking and somebody else is talking, I start yawning.
I did pick him up on that.
I got in trouble.
Yeah.
So I was trying to hide behind someone to yawn, but she still caught me out. It's getting in trouble. You've got a mask on next time. Tomorrow.
With those wiggly glasses as well.
So you can see there, look at this nice sharp edge that we've got on there. And of course, once you finish this, again, if we were on real time, we could then pop that in the fridge, just let it firm up. While it's in the fridge, you're just rolling out your sugar paste, bring it out the fridge. It means the fridge has gave it a little bit of a damp edge on the outside of the ganache, which means you don't have to then wet the surface, and then you just chuck your sugar paste over the top, which is really, really good. Now we're on to stage 3, aren't we?
Stage 3.
Yeah, so
this is the best bit.
This is what we call it, was it the last chance saloon?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is where you're going to try and fix any wee bits that somebody may put their hand in the cake.
Or any holes
Absolutely, yeah.
on there.
So
as well.
hopefully the cake should be still cold from being in the fridge or the freezer, which means we can just apply this ganache, scrape it off without having to go back to the fridge, because if there's any perfectionists out there, yes, you, and you, you'll be ganaching all day, and I mean it, so you need to just learn to walk away from the cake.
Yeah,
So,
and I do have to say that to myself. Step away from the ganache.
yes, it's only a cake.
Yes.
And then you go back.
And it's going to be covered up as well.
Exactly.
So
you say that though, then you go back on.
and then I
again.
carry on. Yeah. It doesn't like.
And then 3 o'clock in the morning, you think, okay, right, okay, I'm going to really step away from this cake.
Yeah.
I think David's going to ask a question.
Yeah, Tracy's asked, what's Renshaw Extra?
So Renshaw Extra is a, I don't know if it was Europe or if it was Australia that actually, was it maybe Australia? Maybe we can listen to it. So it's a much firmer sugar paste. So you've got Renshaw's normal, and then you've got Extra, which is a little bit firmer. It's got a bit more, it just stretches a little bit better, it doesn't crack as much. So if you just Google it, Renshaw's Extra Sugar Paste, I'm sure they now sell it in the UK. I'm sure I saw that. So
And,
Yes, they do.
good.
Tara's just asked, how long after taking the cake out of the fridge can you cover it? How long do you need to leave before you can cover it?
Yeah, so a ganache cake, because it's chocolate, you know how quickly chocolate sets in the fridge, literally doesn't have to be any longer than 10 minutes is probably too long. So it means it's not chilled deep. It's only the outside. So you're fine. Because a lot of people, if you put a buttercream cake in the fridge for 2 hours, an hour to firm up, and then you put the sugar paste on when it's hot, it sweats. Where with ganache, it's just until it goes hard, and you bring it back out, and you never get any of the problems with the sweating business. All right, so that's all the wee bits filled, so what should happen now is we can either use the scraper to go down and scrape it, and on the palette knife on top, just to give it a wee shave. Yeah. And this is the nice bit, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But this is my presentation bit over for tomorrow. So now I'm doing someone else's work.
Is that number 3? Oh, you're number 3. No, you're number 4.
I'm number 4. Yeah.
We don't call them by names in class.
No. It's very rude.
Number 4, come here.
Your turn.
We just find it's a much better way to train.
Especially when there's 2 Sarahs on the course.
Yeah.
2 Sarah B's.
2 Sarah B's.
I know, who both were being picked up at the airport
At
at the same time.
Yeah.
Just needed one sign, didn't it?
Yeah.
See, I hadn't thought of that because I actually did write.
You did right.
I read your full name, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Yeah. I was trying to think back, but yeah, you did.
It was quite funny because you came out and it was ridiculously busy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there was thousands of people coming through this door at the same time, and I could see a girl and she was looking lost. And she was looking around for obviously her name, so I thought it was you. I didn't tell you that.
No, you didn't.
And then to the side, I could just see you walking up towards me, and then I thought, oh no, there she is. And I was a bit worried because the girl I could see, I thought she looks really young to be coming on this course, like sort of like primary school age.
So Samantha's asking, would adding thyme to the sugar paste have the same effect? So I think this is when you were talking about.
Yeah, the stretch, make for getting the sharp edges. I tend to find if you put Tyler or CMC into the sugar paste for icing a cake to get the sharp edges, it doesn't. For me personally, I don't like it. I don't think it works quite the same. But everyone each to their own on that one. But personally, I think it cracks a little bit more.
I think it gives it a little bit of elephant skin as well.
Yeah. So I would say no to that one. Yep. Okay, so that's the sides done. And you just get one last little wee scrapey on top. Yeah. And you can see the difference. Look, because it's been in the freezer and it's been hard. Look how lovely that looks on top there. I think that looks gorgeous.
Yes.
Right. So now all we have to do is just give it a wee massage or a wee. Depends. Do you do it with your hands?
Bit. Do it with my hands. Yeah.
So as long as your hands are clean.
Which they are, just done it.
Yeah, just get your hands in the water, don't burn your fingers, and you can just go round and you can just ever so slightly soften the edge, and then just give it a wee once over, which means we're finished with the ganache, isn't it? Yeah.
Enough for tonight.
That's for later on. Yeah, a little bit of contro, a bit of ganache on a sandwich.
Don't need the sandwich.
So Lynn Myers is in Mallorca.
Oh, it's Mallorca.
Mallorca. Weather's very changeable and has problems with buttercream. So buttercream splits, so she puts packs of ice around mixing bowl.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Normally sorts itself out. That's a good tip.
That is good.
I heard that one.
Yeah. So there we go. Thanks, Lynn. And also, again, this is David's top tip. If you don't have, or most people get AC these days, but if you're not getting air conditioning in the car, when we had lots of wedding cakes going out, we used to put all the wedding cakes in the back. And we used to buy big plastic containers and buy lots of bags of ice and pop them in the van maybe like 15 minutes before you left. And it worked, didn't it? It really worked.
But even when I did have an air-conditioned car, that's when I had my one cake tragedy.
Shh, don't tell them
Okay. That's for another story.
No, we did was it called a chocolate waterfall cake? Yeah. And it was Loch Lomond. I remember it very easily because it was traumatic times. And the lady was from London. And she phoned up the night before to say, I'm terribly stressed about this weather forecast. She was very, very posh. And I think she jinxed it actually. And I said to her, we've never ever had a cake collapse. Never, ever, ever until your wedding cake. And not only did it collapse, it was actually completely melted in the back of the car. You wouldn't even know there was a cake there. It was that bad. And all it was left was the chocolate roses on the top. It was like it was completely flattened and 3 piles of chocolate roses. And the head chef at this really posh place swore, and the air went blue. Apparently, David was a little bit in shock. And he just grabbed the 3 piles of roses out and made a chocolate gateau and just chucked the roses, and apparently that's what we heard. But by the time that bride woke up the next day, she was fully refunded and a very posh bouquet of flowers sent to her house in London.
Yeah.
So, and we never heard anything again. So she didn't even email or anything. Nothing, nada.
So the message was that an aircon car wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
It should have had the ice in the back.
The ice in the back because it was so hot and sunny. The problem is we couldn't replace it because it was an evening wedding, so it was about a 2 hours drive from the bakery. So to drive back and then drive back and make the cake, it wasn't possible. So you live and learn, don't you? So for after that date, we always said if someone's getting married in the middle of the summertime and it's going to be above 25 degrees, and we saw it, we'd always hire a proper cooler to
or
go in the
deliver
back.
the cake the night before,
Or at night time.
or the morning
Yeah,
of before
definitely.
the sun came up.
Good. So you can see here Sarah's just cleaning the board because we're going to get the sugar paste out next, and what we don't want to do is get a lot of cross-contamination with the sugar paste. Is that right? Yes. Sometimes you start talking and you think, I'm actually saying the right thing here. Right, so we're just going to get rid of all the high-risk mess, and we're going to change over now to the clean zone, aren't we?
Yes.
So just give this a wee lift. There we go. Lovely. And now we're going to get the sugar paste out. So this is the fun part. I've got my lovely new tea towels that I said I wasn't going to use to do this job. I got 30 new tea towels and already they're covered in chocolate ganache. Never mind. Right. So we're going to go for pale blue. Now we've got, that's 500 grams, that's 750. I think a kilo is actually the best one there. And I've just realised I've dropped one down the back. So I'll just go with my new wee trolley. I've got a wee trolley dolly. There we go. That should be fine. There you go. Right, so there's a wee knife just into your side there. The orange one. And we've got some corn. I'm so organised. Look, my wee trolley. I've got. It's not like me. I was at IKEA getting an extra table for the class this week. And of course, you never go to IKEA for what you're going for. You always get sidetracked. I think it's purposeful, isn't it? You walk around and they've got all these displays.
Yeah.
And have you never been to IKEA?
I have.
Oh, you have?
I've just never had an argument in IKEA.
Oh, that was it. Oh, yeah, we're having a
Yeah.
discussion about that.
That must be unique.
Yeah, no.
I know.
David just doesn't go to IKEA anymore because he can never find a fire exit or he can never find an exit, so it doesn't go anymore. And we argue all the way around. Shall I open it for you? Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, so I got a little trolley. It was only 20 euros it was. That's a great wee trolley. I was thinking I've got parties as well, I can use it for peeling the food out.
We should do that for lunch tomorrow instead of having to try and balance
We
it
should
all
do
out.
that. We've got all those hidden steps that people keep falling down, so that's the problem, isn't it? There we go. You've been far too gentle doing that, aren't you?
Yeah.
I know. It's like Christmas trying to save the wrapping. Wow, that feels very soft.
Yeah, it's really soft. Yeah.
But it was your idea, you wanted to use Renshaw's.
Well, yes.
Well, that's what you use, isn't it? That's your favourite
I do.
paste, isn't it? So. And then we've got this. Actually, some of them didn't actually know they did it. It's a really nice dark navy one, isn't it? It's really rich. It's actually not far off the colour of that one. Yeah.
Which one is this?
I think it's just called navy, is it?
Oh,
No, sapphire.
blue.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
So while you're softening it up, I may as well open that up. And the dark blue is for the board. So you can see because Sarah's just went over the hot water there, we don't have to wet it. We can just go straight on with the sugar paste. Would you like a rolling pin? Have you got a rolling pin?
No.
Oh, I've seen. That's it. I jinxed
it's
myself. Is it there? Oh, I knew I thought I had it all out. I thought, oh no. After we said how organised it was. So she needs a rolling pin. So hopefully everyone knows what a rolling pin is. The old-fashioned smoothers. And then the more fashionable, do you call them a flexi smoother or acetates? So I used to call them sort of acetates, but
Well, I call
think
those smoothers
And
and,
these-
then those acetates.
acetates, yeah.
Yeah.
And some people call them flexi smoothers. I think there's a Squire's Kitchen maybe call them flexi smoothers, I'm not sure. But it's just a little bit of thin, very plastic that helps to get a sharp edge. Now tonight's not about sharp edges, but we're going to do a wee tiny demo on how to get a sharp edge. But if you want to know how to do a sharp edge, guess what?
There's a tutorial.
There is on CakeFlix. There's loads of them. And one of the best ones to watch is Faye Cahill, because she was one of the designers of the Sharp Edge, using the Flexi Smoothers. What do you think, Madame?
Nothing, just a bit of space and
a bit of space, alright.
Stool to stand on.
Yes, it's designed for my height, isn't it? Yeah. No.
So just while we're doing that, Tara said that she didn't know to cover a ganache cake that was still wet. Normally she would leave it to completely dry.
No. Well, as I was saying, you can do it straight away, or what I do is sometimes if you're doing production line, you pop it in the fridge, and then when it comes out of the fridge, it's got a slight dampness on top, so you never really have to worry about it. But if you, it's just like we've rehearsed this, isn't it? I know. And this is Dorothy Clark that gave me this idea. Is you buy these little bottles from the chemist, and you fill it with alcohol or anything you want, and just give it a little scoosh, and it just puts a nice soft mist or boiled water that's cooled down in the wee scooshy bottle. Really good. So thanks, Dot. Right. So the next question, you're all thinking, how do we know how much sugar paste to roll out to cover the cake?
Well, on the website.
On CakeFlix.
On CakeFlix. There is like a converter or a
cake
chart.
calculator, a sugar paste calculator. Yes.
Yeah.
And the Ganache one had the portions guide.
Yes.
And the recipe
Yes.
guide.
Yes.
All under resources.
And I think that there's also buttercream.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
Guide. Can I get you to put some more?
Do you want me to bring it? Oh, you want more powder? Yeah.
Please.
Okay.
Now this is really, really soft.
Yeah, I wouldn't go much thinner than that, probably. I was thinking, but.
So.
I think that looks good.
It might just rip a little bit.
Shall we? Will we try it?
Yeah.
Let's
please.
try it. Okay, let's see what happens. Fingers crossed. You've got to keep fingers crossed for her. You can do it. Okay, so this is one of the big things about covering cakes, is getting rid of the folds. Okay, it's the anyone who starts doing cake decorating, this is the nevis, is getting rid of these folds. So just watch carefully. I'm going to shut up. Just watch.
You can talk while I'm doing
I
it.
think it makes you more nervous when I stop talking. Yeah. Is that big
it means then I have to talk and I can't concentrate at the same time.
So what we're doing here, we're going smooth the top. So what she's doing, because she's been doing cakes that long, she didn't even realise she's doing it. She's checking for air bubbles. She's going to the top, checking for air bubbles, and then she's kind of joining the top, just because obviously if you seal the side on there, that's you taking the risk of the cracks happening with the sugar paste around there or the fondant. Once you've kind of secured that top little bit on there, then you can then go down and then finish off and just sort of bring the edging down to the bottom of the board, and you can see how beautiful that is, and you don't have any folds, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, don't speak too soon.
No, but you really want to work on the fold, don't work in between the fold, because some people think, oh, I'll just get the fold later on and I'll just smooth the other side. That makes the fold bigger, so you should always work on it. So open the fold up and then press it down, give it a wee hug, but try not none of this tratty chop. I remember when I worked in Oliphant's, the bakery, and the guy there that taught me, he was really into doing these cratty chops going around the side, and which is okay, I think, more for buttercream, but when it comes to ganache, because it's hard, buttercream has a bit more bounce, doesn't it?
Yeah.
With ganache, if you do a karate chop, it just stretches and it can rip even more. So almost to the point where when I go down, I go soft down and I almost pull it back up a bit when I'm smoothing, so you can like hugging it up and down, so you're not putting too much problems. Look at that.
A little bit of a bubble.
Oh, you got a bubble? Okay.
I do have a bubble.
Right, so you just wanted me to leave the room. Look at that.
So Tracy's asked, are you powdering with corn flour or icing sugar?
This is corn flour. Some people, well, I do corn flour. I think if you use icing sugar, and you have to keep rolling out the sugar paste, it will dry out. So I tend to stick to corn flour, but some people just prefer the feel.
I think sometimes icing sugar can be a bit sticky, especially in warmer climates, especially in Europe just now when it's getting hot. so it can get a bit sticky, where corn flour just stays dry, which is quite nice. I can't stand the feel of corn flour, but when you put in a wee puffer like we've got over there, it just comes out. Now, the Aussies, so thank you to the Aussies, when I was over there, that's when I got the idea of using a J-cloth. Do you know the little blue and white checkered cloths you buy, the wee cheap ones? You fill them with your corn flour, obviously a new one, fill it with corn flour, elastic band on the top, and that's you got your wee puffer to put your corn flour, or they call it corn starch, don't they?
Yeah.
In some places as well. And it's just really good, yeah. But ice and sugar, I used to use, the whole time I was in business, it was ice and sugar all the way. Because we did a lot of marzipan cakes, we just didn't use corn flour, because marzipan can have a reaction with the corn flour has a reaction with marzipan and can make it ferment under the ice. And when you wake up in the morning, you've got big ear bubbles. So when you're working with marzipan, always work with ice and sugar. Okay, so you can see here, we're just going round and we're just removing the excess sugar paste all the way around. Okay. Now, can I just make a wee comment?
Yes, please.
So you used that one there, but
Yes.
actually it should have been this one,
Yeah,
and I think 'cause
yeah.
I was talking and I was in the way there. So what happened is Sarah used this one and it never gave the edge.
Yeah.
So this one here, if you don't know, if you look here, it's a gem. Yeah, it's a gem one. So it's got the flat edge, and this one's like a PME one, I think. Yep, and it's rounded. So see, we just pop that on the edge and just go around, and you can see here it gives a little line, and it means we can actually focus on the.
Yeah.
You can see the line, and then we can trim off the excess sugar paste there. Now, because we're going to be icing the board next, don't worry if you see a little gap. And again, all the OCD people out there are freaking out at that stage. But when we ice the board, you're not going to see it. It's going to hide it. So as long as it's no bigger than 2 millimeters, then you're grand. It'll be fine. Now, this sugar paste is very soft, actually, isn't it? There we go. Yeah. Do you want to add something? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Just going back to the bag, I actually use the baby muslin.
You were talking about today,
the baby muslin cloths. Sometimes they actually work out cheaper.
Wow.
As they're for babies rather than cake.
So I don't understand what that cloth is. Because I've never had a baby before, so I don't know what it is.
Wipes up a bit of spit and.
Oh right, so you just buy a little pack of them type thing.
Yes, so you can get them in different sizes. Ones that are quite big, and the ones that I've got are just literally just little squares.
Right, and then you can just put your corn flour inside
And then I
them.
put the corn flour inside of it, squidge it up like this, and keep it in a Tupperware box.
Brilliant, isn't it? Oh,
Yeah.
no, that's it's great, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
so again, it's a wee money saver, isn't it? You don't
Yes,
have to
yeah.
spend lots of money on fancies. I'm doing this. On you go. It's funny how you just automatically
Yeah.
start doing it, isn't it?
Okay, I'm actually gonna.
You go straight into your
Yes.
gadgets.
I use the acetates. I think they're absolutely amazing. The top one, I always use a round one. That way, when you're squidging it up next to each other, it actually,
Yeah, it gives a nice rounded finish. Yeah, and sometimes the squarer ones you can jag it into the cake. Now I can see just looking at the cake, because it's warm and we've not been refrigerating it, it is quite soft, isn't it?
Yeah.
But just look at that. Look at that. It actually looks really quickly sharp. So you're just showing off now. You're not doing this tomorrow. Thank goodness you're not doing the sugar paste.
Again, this isn't my bit tomorrow.
I think that's number 2. Number 2, you watch it.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not number 2, is it? I think it's number 5. Oh no, is it number 5?
I can't remember.
I think it's number 5.
can't
It's
remember.
funny, isn't it, seeing the numbers? But I think you should keep on going. I'm enjoying that actually. Yeah, keep
I
on
love
going.
doing it because
Yeah, I can
at the
see.
end, it's amazing.
It's a feel good
and
factor, isn't it?
When you then lift up the cake.
Beautiful. And again, it's one of these things that when you master the sharp edge, when I first learned how to do it, I did want to walk around the high streets and just
show everyone.
But of course, if you're not a cake person, you've got no idea.
You
They don't understand the excitement.
No.
Yeah.
And I did put it on my Facebook page once, my personal one, and I just seriously didn't get the same reaction.
You put a picture of a dog on, completely different ballgame.
Oh yes.
A million comments. Put a sharp edge on, nothing. Just a few cake geeks, I think, is the only
You
ones.
do realise who your cake geek friends are.
I think it's always funny when people post a picture. It's a 4-tier ganached cake sat on the worktop, and they're saying how happy they are, and people now saying almost think, just a chocolate cake. I don't understand. But of course, to us, it's this really perfectly sharp cake. Now, if we were doing a course on this, so introduction to cake decorating course, how to do this, normally this would take from 9 o'clock to about 1 o'clock just to get to this stage, believe it or not, okay, for complete beginners. Well, we've done this in less than 2 hours, have we? Yeah. So it is practice, okay, so we have the beginners class. Actually, I think the first time I did the beginners class, it took me almost 3 o'clock just to get the cake iced. And then it only lasts 2 hours to get the bow and the bow on and get the board iced. So it is just practice. Don't give up if you're a beginner. She's making it look really easy. When you come to do it, it'll be a bit more difficult.
It does take time, but I do believe these are so much better because they do bend with you. So
the bend and the heat from your hand goes through, so it helps to warm up the cake up to keep it a wee bit softer. Look at that. That's brilliant. I think that's a high five. How cheesy is that? Love it. Right, okay. So now I think I'm going to do the next bit.
Yes.
So we're going to change sides.
I'm going to have a break.
Yeah, you can have a wee.
Some water.
I thought you said some Cointreau there. So to ice the board, just to finish up, so we've got a little bit of this lovely sapphire blue from Renshaw's again, and we've got a little bit of the corn flour. Now generally when I dust it again, beginners, give it a little dust. After that you shouldn't have to dust it again, so don't reapply. And the idea is that when we roll this out, the time this is rolled out to the right thickness, it will be nice and clean on top. But if I was to add more on just now, look, you can see already, look, so as I'm rolling it down, look, it's all gone. So, and it's only because I've not added more on. Because I think when you first start, because the first time you do it, it sticks. So then you think, I'm going to have to just keep on dusting it all the time. And you just end up in a big mess. So I've got 500 grams of sugar paste, and it's a 12-inch round cake board. So just roll it out, and then get your drum, and just check. So you can see there, just the right size. That's perfect. And then what I've got here is I've actually got glue here, which I don't want to use. So I'm just going to turn around and just dip that in there and just dilute it, and it's really just water that we want to put around there, just to sort of wet it. And then you want to, so that's an 8-inch cake, so we want to cut maybe like a sort of 5 or 6 inch round because we want to stretch it over the top. Now some people like doing this because they find it a bit stressful, they prefer to move the cake, but of course if you've not got a cake card or a drum underneath there and you've got to move it, there's a big chance you're going to damage the cake. So if you don't like doing it this way, you need to make sure you've got a cake. I would normally do a cake drum underneath because it's a lot harder. So an 8-inch round cake drum underneath, then you ganache the cake in the thing so it's all hidden underneath. So when you come to transfer it, it's rock solid to move it over onto your board. But we're going to do it this way because it's nice and that's a nice wee trick. And I learned this when I worked at a cake shop in Glasgow called Top Tier Designer Cakes, who I don't think I think they're gone now sadly, but it was them that taught me this. So I'm going to go round, so roughly, I think it's about a 5-inch, roughly 5-inch, take that off there like that, and then we want to lift it up.
Now Paul does do everything freehand. You can always use a cake card and then just cut around that.
Yes, of course. But that means having to walk all that distance to cover to get a cake card.
Yeah, all those extra 3 steps.
So you can see there, it was such a small hole, but the time I've put it on, it's really stretched it on, and all we want to do is just keep on stretching. Actually, I could have made the hole just a little bit bigger, but it's better to make it smaller so you can stretch. If you make it too big, it ends up like you've got too much gaps. So if you can look here, I don't know if the top camera's seen that or the one over there, you can see that it's came down and it's right, and it gives a really nice, and because I used water, I'm able to push the sugar paste back in. So I'm bringing it down, you can see the board coming through, and then you just push it back in and you get that really nice little contrast, and it's a really clean finish. It's just lovely, it just makes you feel good. And of course you've saved a fortune over a year. If you ice all your cakes like this, you've saved all that sugar paste. And if you add that up over a year, if you're making quite a lot of cakes, that's quite a big saving. So your accountant's going to be very happy, and it means you can go and spend more money on wee things for yourself. If you like gardening.
Your accountant won't be happy.
Yeah, so you can go to the garden centre, or you can buy more wine or more chocolate or whatever tickles your fancy. Sadly, I like all of those. Well, no, maybe not so much the wine, but definitely garden and chocolate.
I will go back. You said about putting water on there instead of glue, it is purely because glue sticks a lot quicker, isn't it? So
you can't push it in because it goes rock solid, and then you end up with fingerprints when you're trying to push it back against, where the water just kind of wiggles about like that. Okay, so then get your knife, pop it onto the end, and you can see, especially the Renshaws, because it's quite soft, it just goes around like butter, doesn't it? Now, when I was at college, it was Cecilia Young, and she taught me to use the back of the knife to do it. It kind of gives it a slightly more rounder finish, but it takes longer, so I like to use the blades just so I can get around there a lot faster. And look at that, so you can see there, look how lovely the cake board's iced there. There's no gaps at all around there, and all that's left is to add the ribbon. So hopefully the ribbon is there.
So just a couple of things. Lorraine has asked, back to the acetates. She has her smoothers. One's got a rough side and the other side smooth.
Yeah,
which
smooth one, smooth side. Always, yes, smooth side on there. This one does actually as well. I hadn't really noticed, but the smooth side. Do you know, if you actually make a mistake and you do the other side, it doesn't really make much difference.
I was going to say, I use both sides.
Yeah, it doesn't really make much difference. I think it just depends on who makes them.
Yeah, there's a lady, is it Brenda from Ireland? I've forgotten her second name, sorry Brenda. And I think she puts the rough side on the cake and the smooth side up top, I think. Maybe I'm wrong there. So I think it's just your own whatever you prefer. So obviously when you put the ribbon on, we're looking to see if we've got a good side or a bad side. I think it's all the same, so I'm quite happy. And then just pop I'm just using a glue stick. Now everyone's like, oh my god, he's putting a glue stick on a cake. It's good on the board, it's not good on the cake, okay? And if someone's eating the board, there's more problems to be thinking about than I've not brought the scissors out, so you've got more problems if they're eating the board than worrying about the glue on the board. The only thing that generally I find in the years when I get feedback is it's the pet dog, or that's at the parties everyone's having a few wee drinks, they've forgotten about the cake at the side of the table, and the dog's end up licking the board and eating the sugar paste. And of course then what happens the next day, there's lovely blue poo all over the garden. Nice way to finish that.
A couple of quick questions.
Sure.
Your mum's on and says hi.
Oh hi mum.
Denise is on from Florida where it's very hot as well.
Oh hi Denise. I think Denise is getting ready to go on holiday. She's going to Pennsylvania, I think. Things that I know. Look at that. So I hope you have a nice vacation, because it's not a holiday over there.
Oh no,
it's a vacation, isn't it? Yeah.
And Samantha is asking where you get your orange knives.
Oh yes, so we now sell the orange knives. They're £50 for a pack of 4. No. We should do that, shouldn't we? We should get a stamp CakeFlix on them. They're so cheap, it's unbelievable. See, I shouldn't say that. If I was a businessman, I wouldn't say that, would I? I would get a wee hot thing and put CakeFlix on there. But they're £50, and I get it from a company called Country Baskets. And they're in the UK. I think they're all over the UK.
I've never heard of them.
Have you not heard of them?
They're amazing knives, actually.
Yeah, Country Baskets, 50p, really sharp, thin blade, and they just cut really good, and they last for ages. Sometimes the wee bit goes in the end, and it's Country Baskets. They've got a website, so you can actually. Although my sister was looking for them recently, I didn't see them on the website. So can you post knives out from a website?
No, I don't think you can.
I don't think you can you? Knives, can you buy knives online?
I don't know.
I can't imagine. I couldn't see them. Anyway, Country Baskets, the stores.
So Lindsay Mackay was saying IKEA.
IKEA got similar ones. They're not quite the same. I've tried the IKEA ones. They're good, but they're not. The blade's still not as thin. It's just such a thin blade, isn't it? But the IKEA ones are similar, but I'm still preferring the orange. You'll probably notice that in the last, how long have I been doing online tutorials? 8 years. 8 years. I think I've used an orange knife in every single tutorial, so that's 8 years using orange. Not the same one. But anytime I go to Country Baskets to buy because I get all my ribbons there, and then I always buy a pack of four or five knives. So they come in packs of 4. So it's £2. It's just so cheap, isn't it? Especially when you spend a lot of money on all the fancy ones. So anyway, so there we go. So how nice was that?
So just maybe another chat friend who's joined, just to explain
So Sarah is on our Train the Trainer course.
Yes.
Yes. And she very, very kindly, or is it kindly, stupidly? No, kindly, when we asked, well actually it was Jackie Harris that I think asked the question, it'd be great to see someone else on doing the cake. So Sarah kindly invited herself to do it,
Yes.
put herself into the, outside the comfort zone.
Very much, yeah.
And I think you've done really well. You've enjoyed it.
Thank you. Yeah, I have.
And
really
it's
done.
it's our
My
first
live.
It's our first live, and today
Yeah.
on here was our first demonstration in front of people as well,
Yeah.
especially when it's like peers and it's a
Yeah.
little bit
Yeah.
nerve-wracking. So that's two big milestones today on the Trainer
You'll
course.
sleep well tonight.
Yeah, I
Well
will.
done.
Yes.
And even business-wise, David doesn't know it yet. You've even done, after today's training, you've already set off one of your business. We don't want to talk about it because it needs to come to the course, but
Yes.
you've
yeah.
already done one of your. Yeah, she's been on
Yeah.
the phone and she's got things lined up already. So that's really, really cool. I love that.
Yeah.
And so your company is called.
Caringly crafted.
So David's put a link on the comments. Oh, can you not get it on
I
there?
can't get it on.
Okay. So you go on later on, and
Yes.
you'll put the link on.
Yeah. I'll,
And it'd be great for you to go over and like your page, wouldn't it? It'd be nice.
yes, it would. I do need to update it. I
That's
came
all.
on this to be able to then start with courses in September. So yeah, have a lot of advertising to do
Yeah.
first. So do like it. It will be updated.
And it's going to be beginner courses that you're focusing
Beginner
on.
courses, children, adults,
And that's
6 at a time.
That's
yes.
going to be in the Milton Keynes,
Yeah, Leighton Buzzard.
Leighton Buzzard
Yes.
area. So there
Yeah.
we go. So
Yeah.
so
A
we'd
lot
lovely
of
to see
people
you.
on saying well done, Sarah.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
And you've got such a really nice, calm attitude. I mean, for your first one, I think you've done really, really well.
Thank
so
you.
That's going to be a testament to your teaching skills. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, well done.
Well done.
Yeah, that's great.
So,
Okay, so thanks very much for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure having you all on board again, and just also a massive thanks to everyone who's joined the page. It's just unreal, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's some of I've not had time because I've been really busy, so I do apologise. I've not had time to go on and like some of the work. I've been looking at it, but I've been looking at it while I've been getting prepared for this class, so it has been a bit mad. So thanks very much. Your work of art, your cakes are just unbelievable. They're just fantastic, and I love how there's every level on there.
Yes,
so
yeah.
complete beginner up to the mega advanced and everything in between. So it's such a nice wee community on there. So thanks very much, everyone. After this course, we'll hopefully maybe on Friday we'll be doing maybe a couple of little lives, and of course that'll be nice. But we'll not say too much. Just stay tuned for that on Friday. And then next week we are actually on holiday, so we'll be a wee bit quiet for a week, but then we come back, it's going to be full steam, 110%, full steam ahead on the groups and everything else in between. So anyway, we're off to the pub now. And David, so it's a good night from David.
good night from David.
It's a good night from Matthew.
Good night from Matthew.
And it's a good night from us. See you later.
Good
Bye.
night.
Easy thumbs.